Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to this map tour of Fort Mill, South Carolina. Today we're going to be talking about the places to live, the places to eat, the places to hang out, the schools, everything like that. We're even going to touch a little bit on later in the video about TKK, which is a separate town, but it is very close to Fort Mill. They're kind of all one area. But we're going to start by talking about Old Fort Mill, where it's at in location to Charlotte, why so many people are moving here, and let's hop right in. All right, so here we are at Fort Mill, and Fort Mill is right over the North Carolina, South Carolina line. You see, here's the line right here. Um, so we'll pop out first, and I'll show you. Oh, I gotta delete that. Hold on, sorry. All right, so let me just show you first where we are in location to Charlotte. So this is uptown Charlotte. Here's the airport. You basically have two interstates running through Charlotte, right? You've got 85 going north south. You also have 77 going north south. 85 looks more like it's going east west, but that's just over Charlotte. So Fort Mill is about 11, 12 miles south of the town of Charlotte or the city of Charlotte. And Fort Mill is a small town. So this is the red dotted line is actually the town of Fort Mill as it is like annexed in. So kind of everything else. And let me just draw a quick little I just want to show you here. So this is Lake Wiley right here. And oh, I don't want that. I want to draw with this. That's Lake Wiley, and I'm gonna make this red so we can see it. This is Lake Wiley right here. And then when we're talking about Fort Mill, though, we essentially go all the way up here to Carowinds, and this is the tip top of the state line, and it comes down, runs through Fort Mill, all the way down the river to about right here. And then actually it goes almost to here and then kind of up, follows 521 and back up. So this is all like unincorporated York County outside of there, except for over here. This is where TKK is. So the town of Fort Mill proper, paying city taxes, paying town taxes, having town services is only in this dotted red here. But kind of everywhere else outside of here is still in a Fort Mill zip code that people focus on and that I'm sorry, I'm losing it here. But yeah, you would your address would be in Fort Mill. So let's hop in a little closer here. Let me get rid of this stuff first and we'll there we go. All right. So we're gonna start at downtown Fort Mill, which is really a cute little area. And you can check out my vlog of Fort Mill on the channel as well. I'll put that at the end where I kind of walked around and talked about all this stuff. So this is, and I'm going to turn on our, yeah, there we go, satellite. So this little block right here is the main drag in Fort Mill of the old Fort Mill. So this is like downtown Fort Mill. Fort Mill was a very small town until very recently. Um, Fort Mill, like I explained in that vlog video, you can hear more about it. But basically, the Fort Mill schools came out as some of the best in the state of South Carolina. And when that happened, developers started flocking here because the Charlotte schools have always been kind of a thing of their own. It's a very different system in North Carolina than it is in South Carolina. And with the proximity to Charlotte, they knew they could build higher end homes. The prices of homes jumped. The developers came in, started building new neighborhoods. And so this is the main street of Fort Mill. Pucker Butt Pepper Company, super awesome. This is where the Carolina Reaper is from. Smokin' Ed owns this store. This is like their storefront. They grow the peppers down in Rock Hill, actually. Um, but that's the hottest pepper in the world. And actually, he's created another pepper now called Pepper X, which is even spicier than the Carolina Reaper. So if you like hot sauce, if you like peppers, that's a place to check out for sure. Um, so we'll just pop back out of the downtown. But yeah, just to give you an idea, this is downtown Fort Mill. Obviously, it is going to be on a train track. All of these towns in the South are on a train track. The downtown is near the train station. The train station is not there anymore, but that's why all these towns got started and have these little towns. When we're talking about any of these towns in that are suburbs of Charlotte. So if this is the downtown, you see over here the Fort Mill Golf Club. So this is a really nice little 18-hole golf course. Very old. I think that was established in like the early like 1910, 1920. It's been there for a long time. And Fort Mill is the home of the Springs family, which owned Springs Industries, which was a huge textile company in New York City, but most of their mills were down here, and the family lived up here. And actually, um, let's see if we can see it right here is yeah, the Claiborne home. So this was actually, I wonder if we can get it on the street view. This property here was like this the Springs family homestead. They built this beautiful like Victorian. Do they have it blacked out? No. You can't really see it well from. Oh, we can't see it. Okay. Oh, there we go. So this is like a really neat Victorian home here, and I think they do tours of it. So that's right outside of downtown. Then we have this big park right here. This is Walter Elijah Park, and that's where the city has like it's even on the map. So this big park right here is home to the Strawberry Festival. Fort Mill produces a ton of strawberries, a ton of peaches as well. We'll talk about that as we keep going. But yeah, so right side outside of downtown is this park, and then we've got homes around here are going to be older. So a lot of these were like mill houses, built in like the early 30s and 40s, all of these homes in here on this side of town. And you can see where developers find land and they've built new neighborhoods. So we'll kind of talk about from the center of downtown here, where you've got restaurants, coffee shops. It is a small downtown, it's not huge. So um, don't think it's a ton of stuff. It's like a quaint little place to go get lunch. Um, and it's really neat. There's a Moriarty's Brewery, there's Improper Pig Barbecue, so there is plenty to do there. Um, as you go south around this kind of like southeastern quadrant of Fort Mill around the golf course, there's like some really nice, beautiful older homes in this country club. They're 1950s. Let's just take a peek at some of those. So these are just like really neat, stately kind of houses, mid-century. They're going to be on like a lot. This dropped us on State Street, but it's still kind of the general idea. But larger lots, quarter acre lots on the golf course. Um, just really neat homes here. And then as we pull out, so let's just talk a little bit about kind of different areas from the high view here. So this is downtown Fort Mill. Remember we talked about the Springs family. This is the greenway that the Springs family donated, or I guess they didn't donate it, but they put it in trust. So it's like its own nonprofit corporation that allows people to come in and you actually buy a membership to the Greenway, and they have all different types of events. You can host, they do equestrian stuff, horses there. The dairy barn over here is like a really neat spot where people get married. It's actually was a working farm at some point. There's still some peach orchard sections of it as well. There's a lot of like trail running that happens and 5Ks and nature walking and all kinds of stuff in there. So that a ton of people that live in Fort Mill do a lot of stuff at the Greenway. And then the Greenway, of course, hosts like public events out there too that you can buy tickets to, like concerts and different things like that. Um, so as we head out of downtown, let me get centered again here. We're looking at downtown, right? As we go east here, we head towards Indian Land. And Indian Land is technically in Fort Mill. I'm sorry, technically in Lancaster County. Fort Mill is in York County. And I don't know if it's going to show us on the line, but it's kind of the panhandle. 521 is like literally just about this highway. 521 is just about the county line there. It actually, I think it breaks at one of these uh creeks in here. But anyway, So as you go towards Indian Land, there's a ton of new development, and like all of this stuff is within the last like 10, 15 years. So like nothing like super old as you go that way. And this is kind of like a weird no man's land too, because like some places will have an Indian Land address and or still be in Fort Mill, or they'll like have a Fort Mill zip code, but it'll say the town is Indian Land. Indian Land itself right now is not incorporated. It's kind of like Lake Wiley. You can check out our Lake Wiley video too. It's an area of Lancaster County that is operated zoning permitting wise by the county, but it's not technically a town yet. They're working for it, but you'll see some weird stuff there. Like you'll have like an old car oil change space, like right next to brand new $400,000 construction. Um, so it's a little bit Wild Westy out there. There's also some huge developments because some of the land was still fairly cheap. And again, 521 shoots straight into Ballantyne. And then further from there, you can go straight up into Uptown through the south end. So talking about Fort Mill, this side is going to be, this is still fairly rural out here on the east side. That's changing rapidly, like Barberville Road as we zoom in here. Um, We've got like Audubon Lake is a huge community right here. Um, you know, this side, Sugar Creek. So I think Sugar Creek might actually be the county line right there. But um, this is all new. Anytime you see one of these old pop-up neighborhoods like this, these are all newer things. Movement Mortgage has its headquarters right here. Um, and Highway 160 has been being widened for like the last 10 years to kind of keep up with the growth over here as it's kind of became the main thoroughfare connecting 77 to 521. Because remember, this is the interstate right here. And so unless you're going around 485 up here and then down 521, the only real way to get to Indian Land is on 160. So everything that's kind of grown up in Fort Mill and the growth of Indian Land kind of go hand in hand with each other as far as this area exploding. Um, as we go south here to the Catawba River, we see more of these neighborhoods. This area has been booming as well. And what I want to actually take a look here. So this is a big neighborhood and it's still dirt right here. Like I don't think, yeah, they barely had anything done. This is more built out now. And in fact, you can see some of that neighborhood in that vlog tour of Fort Mill that I did. So check that out. And if you have any questions about homes, you can always call or text me as well. So at this number right here, or shoot me an email and I can help you with that. But, new construction Fort Mill, you're looking at entry price point of like 550 for about 1,400, 1,600 square feet. And it goes up from there. There's also, this is actually a front row. They built these first. These are actually like townhome buildings right here that have garages in the back. So like detached. Um, that's a big neighborhood. And then as you cross over here, you've got Catawba Ridge High School is new. There's also a middle school here. Dobie's Bridge Elementary School is very new. Dobie's Bridge is a road that also runs out to Indian Land, kind of on the further, well, yeah, South Indian Land. I don't know if that's a real designation, but that kind of goes to the lower half of Indian Land down there. And these neighborhoods, Massey was built in kind of like the '08 time. And Massey was a D.R. Horton neighborhood, and it is a humongous neighborhood, and these homes are big. I mean, these are like minimum 2,500 going up to like probably almost 4,000 square feet on some of the basement homes in Massey. Um, but you have Massey, and then you've got River Chase is another neighborhood, and then of course you have some of these old neighborhoods sprinkled in here too. Like I think this is actually called Whitechapel, this neighborhood. So it is kind of like a mixed bag, and you can always tell when you're looking at the map because like these more spaced out ones, Oxford Place, these are going to be the older neighborhoods that have more trees, have bigger lots, and then you look at like Massey where it looks like I mean, these lots are still big, but the homes on them are just massive. Um, Much more of like a master plan community. River Chase is fairly new. This was built up in the early 2012s. Um, and then what else do we have on this side of town? Oh, yeah, we got to talk about down here. So this is Waterside. And Waterside was a whole development here behind this new school. Um, and there's several different neighborhoods in here. So like Pecan Ridge is a neighborhood, um, which kind of is on both sides of this street. And then on the other side over here, this is this big you can't, I don't know if you can tell, but this kind of like low lying grass, like right here, all this stuff is actually like high tension power line easement. So we're close to the river and the dam right here, right? So that's where the power comes from. So we're like right next to the Catawba River right here. And this is the end of Lake Wiley. Oh, no, where's the end of Lake Wiley? Right here. So this is a hydroelectric dam at the end of Lake Wiley. And so those power lines all kind of come off of there and run down into Fort Mill. Um, all right, so you're looking at resale in here. There were several builders. This is a humongous, Waterside is a humongous neighborhood. It's actually like I said, a couple different neighborhoods. Um, People that live in here love it. The houses, there's a lot of like one level. They have this big, beautiful pool. They've got actual like lap pool for swim teams, kid pool, splash pool, tennis courts. Probably nowadays some pickleball happening on those tennis courts. And then everything from big monster homes in here to like these are little smaller kind of 1800 size foot ranch homes here. And then as you kind of go out the backside of Waterside, you've got this is actually a city park, Banks Athletic Park. There's baseball fields, tennis. That's a city run park. And then these are actually townhomes on the back half here. And you can kind of sneak out the back to get to the Fort Mill bypass. So the bypass is before this road. Let me change this color so we can see it a little bit better. Maybe not. Let's see. I'm gonna make it bright yellow, hopefully. All right, so this is Highway 21, which was the road that we all used before the interstate. That was before my time. The Interstate 77 was built in the 70s. Um, but we have the bypass that kind of runs along here, up and around, and then back to Highway 160. So this bypass was not finished until about 20 about 10 years ago, 2013, 2014. They were still kind of finishing these last legs. And so that's what really opened up uh the ability to build on this southern part of Fort Mill. Because before it was like you had to go into 21, kind of either zigzag through here, you'd kind of cut up through this road and then come through downtown, take 160, and then kind of work your way through these back roads. There was no like main road that wrapped around Fort Mill. You had to work through all the old neighborhoods. And again, all of this stuff here, this is downtown. This is like the middle of Fort Mill. All of these things are older homes, mill houses. Like I said, they're small, 2, 3 bedroom. Even though they're small, they still get a pretty penny. A renovated house in like the old town of Fort Mill, you can get 300, 320. So, it's a very unique community. The schools are very good. They've built a ton of schools in the last 10 years. And now I think they're about to have 3 high schools in Fort Mill, which is crazy. When I graduated 20 years ago, there was only one Fort Mill High School. But the schools have kept up as good. Still have really good ratings. You can always check out the ratemyschool.com and check out where they are now, but they're still some of the best in the state for sure. So as we kind of bounce out from Fort Mill, and let's look over here to the west side. What do we have? This is Baxter Village. Now, basically, I just want to make sure I'm not going to tell you anything wrong. Basically, everything. This is Sutton Road, and now this is like the old side of the old west side of Fort Mill. These again are going to be like brick ranches, 1960s. Um, and then we have a couple newer neighborhoods here. This is a big new neighborhood called Mason's Bend, and they actually built an elementary school there when they did this neighborhood. Um, these homes are beautiful. These, golly, that is a ton. It is just humongous. I did not realize it went all the way back like that. I knew they were doing additional areas, so they're completely built out in here now. But the people that live in Mason's Bend really love it because you can walk to that elementary school. Lots of golf carts in there. They actually have some like their amenity and pool centers down here, and there's a trailhead, and I think they even have a kayak launch into the Catawba River right here that's private. So you have access to all that in these areas. It's a huge, huge neighborhood. Now, it is like obviously planned, but it's not like a master plan. Um, that happens when we go up here Sutton Road and we get to Baxter Village. So this is, let me see where Market Street is. All right, yeah, this is Market. So we come up, this is essentially, that's going to be so hard to see here. All right, let me draw this. So we have basically everything from this road kind of sweeping through here up to the interstate, all the way over, all the way down. This is all Baxter Village. And Baxter Village is a real master plan community. So it was not in the town of Fort Mill. You see our little red dots end right here on the interstate. So it's unincorporated York County. Um, but a local developer came in and this was like all like peach orchards in the day. And you can see there's Allison Park right here in the middle of it, and it's got walking trails all through here. It's all connected with these walking trails. This again is going to be power line easements, but it's got walking trails through it. Um, and there's actually neighborhoods inside Baxter. So like there's just like in the back here, I mean, it just gets wild. There's some like really um I mean, as you get back into this back half closer to the lake. Like it's just this isn't Baxter, but like in here, there's some just monster homes. I mean, truly giant houses that back up that actually have some land and stuff on them. So you're looking at Baxter price point resale wise, anywhere from a townhome in Baxter can be about 375, 400 for one that might need to be updated. The homes are creeping up on like 20 years old now. Um, all the way up to 2 million for one of those big. I mean, when I say monster houses, we're talking about like 5,000, 6,000 square feet, with three-level like basement type stuff with, on an acre of land in that cul-de-sac back there. But Baxter has like a full market area, full commercial area. Like I said, they've got a school in here. There's Orchard Park Elementary. You've also got the YMCA right here. And it looks close to the interstate, but it's really, like none of the homes are really close to the interstate. So there's a doctor's office, like this area right here at Six Baxter is a big commercial area. He's got attorneys' offices and everything. And then big golf cart neighborhood for sure. People love to walk around here. And like you can see, you've got Italian, you've got the Grapevine, which is like a staple of Baxter. It's been there since they opened. It's really built a following. And you've got houses like right around the corner. So like, let me just drop in here. So like this is looking back up towards the interstate that way. This is all the commercial area. As we kind of go down, you'll see this is the big restaurant called Fish Market. This is the Grapevine I was just talking about on this corner right here. They're in the bottom level. Um, and then look, like it's a one stop sign, and these are townhomes, right? Like these are attached houses, but like one more back, you go down Victoria Way. You're at single family homes, and they were kind of styled after that like Charleston style was the original idea. So like you see that's I don't if you're not familiar with Charleston, that's like a very familiar thing there where the porches are on the side and like it doesn't have a front door on the front. It's gonna have it like down this walkway right here. So lots of old trees, backload garages. I mean, it's just like, and of course the property values go up as you get closer to that like as you get closer to that like walkable area. So yeah, that's we were just going down Victoria right here. So there's that like Charleston style house. So that was like the idea of Baxter was like a walkable Charleston style community right here in Fort Mill. And it's really besides maybe River Hills, but I think River Hills is its own town. Like Baxter is not its own town. It's just a master plan community. So like they just use regular county fire departments, county schools, that type of stuff. They're not like its own town like TKK is. So let's talk a little bit more about this north part of Fort Mill. Tons of development in here between these two roads. If you're talking about Fort Mill, you have to know what we call I'm going to change this from highlighter to like marker. What does this do? Let's see. All right, so this is Highway 160 that goes back to 77. And this is Gold Hill Road. And that actually goes all the way back down over here towards um, downtown Fort Mill. And all of this in between here was developed in like the boom of like 2004, 2005. Then it kind of stopped, obviously, in '08. And then in 2012, 2013, things really started picking back up and it's still been going today. It's pretty much built out now. Um, but the commercial has finally caught up. So like right here, this is the main exit at Fort Mill. This is Highway 160. This area, and we're right across from Baxter. So like if you were to come from Charlotte, right? Like you're coming down the interstate from Charlotte up here, you get off at Highway 160. And you've got over here. Oh, yeah, we need to talk about Kingsley. This is a big new, this is all like the newest area um that we've seen built up that's like commercial and is called Kingsley. And there's like obviously a Marriott. These are all like apartment homes in here though. But I can help you with that too. Call or text a number, shoot me an email if you have any questions. Um they got Panera Bread. That's all in the vlog of, the Fort Mill vlog. So, oh shit, I just kicked my camera. But if you check that out, um, you know, it's got a ton of places to eat. It's got LPL Financial, which is a huge, actually have, I think this is like their East Coast headquarters, right here. And they're a big financial advisor, kind of like clearinghouse. So a lot of local financial advisors work with or for LPL, kind of like an Edward Jones type situation. But anyway, talking about housing, we go back into this area, this triangle of 77 to where 160 meets Gold Hill, and then back here. Like, look at all these homes in here. And some of these, like I said, some of these neighborhoods were built in like Waterstone. That's the early 2000s. You've got some of these neighborhoods. God, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to get my bearings here. This is Knightsbridge, which is just, I mean, Knightsbridge is a huge neighborhood. Everywhere along these roads, Gold Hill, this is where they built all these houses. And like I said this in the vlog, like at one point in 2014, there was like 15,000 open building permits that they hadn't started moving dirt on in York County because look at it. This is the remember red dots for town of Fort Mill. This is just unincorporated York County. So we're not dealing with the town municipality. They're just dealing with the county of York. And it caused some problems. It did. I mean, traffic on 160 can be really bad. They've widened it. This used to be nothing. I mean, even when I was a kid, like you would basically get off 77 right here, and if you wanted to get to TKK, which we'll talk about TKK in just a second, but like from basically you had like these like this Chick-fil-A, it wasn't a Chick-fil-A, but you like had couple commercial things here. Then when you got to Pleasant Road, you had the KOA campground, which is still right here. Um, and or no, the KOA is on Gold Hill, isn't it? Wait, hold on. Yeah, no, sorry. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, at 160, there was like, you would get off and it'd be like, there was nothing. Like all of this, there was nothing here. There was like nothing, nothing, nothing until you got to this intersection of where Gold Hill hits 160. And this shopping center was here. And then this was built in the 90s, but I mean, it was just like this was the road to TKK. So, again, let's just keep our bearings here. We're talking about downtown Fort Mills here. We've got all this, some of this new construction going towards Indian land over here. Um, it's going to be newer than this. And then we had all of this in the middle fill in over here on this west side. And this Walmart's kind of like a line, right? So let me see what I can do if I draw this here. Um, so we're talking about TK. You see TKK right here, which really kind of started as this peninsula, but it's kind of like grown into this. It doesn't go past there. It kind of goes up there. It kind of goes to the state line. It kind of zigs in and zigs out. So that's TKK. So it's like very close to Baxter, very close to Fort Mill. In fact, let me pop this back out. Let me see if I can let's just look at that real quick since we're talking about it. Yeah. Oh, I was fairly close with my lines there. So you see TKK is all of this peninsula and it's just it's like one road in. So Gold Hill Road actually becomes TKK Drive. Um, and TKK is its own town, and it's been around since I think like 19 early 70s is when they started building these houses, like 74, 75. And it's like it was designed to be like a recreational community for people in Charlotte to like buy a weekend lake house down here. They built a golf course that goes all the way through. You can see it laid out within these houses. Um, there's tons of waterfront homes with docks. A lot of the homes were originally very small, very kind of like unique, like 70s modular architecture. That's all changed now. There's some true monster homes. I'll see if I can get some B-roll of like the guy that used to own the Hornets back in the day, the basketball team had a house there. It's just awesome. Um, and it's kind of just grown up and they've annexed more and more. So like, yeah, this Walmart center is basically at the line of like where Fort Mill ends and TK begins, even though it's really just York County, not TK. But it's kind of interesting. Like you ask someone where they live, like if someone lives in Baxter, they're going to tell you they live in Baxter. If they live over on this side, like Doby's Bridge Road, like we were talking about, if they live in this kind of the triangle between Gold Hill and 161, they're going to say Fort Mill. And then, oh, what did I do there? And then you talk about someone talking about TUK. That's this section right here. This is like new TUK, which they kind of annexed this little area to build some houses. You can see like all of this stuff that's like on this is actually Lake Wiley right here. The GPS looks kind of crazy. The water is like choppy, but like see that's not in TQK. All of these new houses, Lake Ridge, man, there's a ton of houses right there and those are annexed into TQK. So they get TQK services like fire, police, water. Like TQK is a town that has its own services you pay taxes to. This out here is just like unincorporated York County. These people are taking their trash to the dump or paying a third party service to come get it. You know what I'm saying? So that's the kind of important stuff you got to talk to an agent about. So if you have questions about where to be in Fort Mill for trash pickup, give me a call, shoot me a text or send me an email. Um, and then this kind of top tip corner, um, this road right here is called Pleasant Road, runs all the way up. This again was kind of more like early 2000s time and really more of just being so close to this Steel Creek area of Charlotte that was exploding and cheaper taxes on the South Carolina side basically kind of spurred all this development off of 77. And then as you get up here, this is obviously Carowinds. It's a big amusement park. Let's see if we can just see something here. Oh, cool. We can go all the way in. Let's just see the parking lot. That doesn't look like anything. Oh, there we go. There's a big roller coaster. So Carowinds is like literally split on the state line. So technically, I think the entrance is in Fort Mill. We've got tons of, big Cabela's. This is all grown up over the last few years. This is the road to Pineville out of here. You have even more like townhome communities. And then, of course, we have to talk about the last stop. We're talking about Regent Park. And Regent Park is like so far north. Let me pull our put our little lines back up of Fort Mill. So like remember, this was downtown, right where it says Fort Mill, the quaint little town with the pucker butt store. And then this area called Regent Park, um, this was a big, again, like master plan type community. Didn't have a ton of commercial in front of it. I mean, it is off of this bypass and they built like this strip mall and stuff. Um, but it's interesting because Regent Park was actually built on the old PTL money. You know, Jim Baker and he scammed all those people, built this big building right here. This is actually really interesting. So Jim Baker built this building as like a timeshare and then like reneged on it. And it's just been sitting there since like the early 90s. Hasn't been torn down. There's like a church that owns this Morning Star. This was all a mall, like I remember as a kid. And then this Heritage Lake, like where these townhomes are, like this was a actual water park. That I mean, this whole thing was like one of the biggest water parks in the world. I swear I'm not kidding. Like I think there's a stat out there that says at one point it was called Heritage USA, so it's called Heritage Lake was the name of the PTL. And they like moved it, they did all their TV shows there. They had all these cabins and stuff. And so this was like a big retreat center for PTL people. If you sent money in, you got to go there. I'm getting off on a tangent, but they just the last thing because I think it's funny, like that water park in like 1980 or 1979 was only second to the Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World in attendance. Like it was so popular. And then traded, obviously, Jim Baker went to jail, was embezzling money, yada, yada, yada. Um, and this land has kind of been parceled off over the years. And Regent Park came in, they built, they have this. Where's the golf course in here? Yeah. So actually, you know what? Regent Park has actually gotten rid of their golf course. That's why I can't find it here. They built these townhomes on it. I forgot about that. That was about 4 years ago. They came in and took their golf course out and built townhomes on it. And it's kind of just really choppy in there development wise. Some people love being in Regent Park. There's some beautiful houses, some great big, I mean, just really nice. I mean, these are big homes in here, like Hickory Stick. Like this used to be a golf course back here, but it's not anymore. Um, and they've been just trying to fill it in where they can because Fort Mill is growing so quickly. Um, again, it's really kind of feels like much more of like a bedroom commuter end. If you're up here on the north side, like these neighborhoods off Pleasant Road and Regent Park feel much more like a suburb of Charlotte because you're really close. Like you hop on 77, you're two exits to 485. And this is all industrial stuff right here on this bottom half of 485. But if you're south of Gold Hill Road, like obviously look at all this green space right here, like this feels more like the community of Fort Mill and people that live in Fort Mill and do stuff like these people, yeah, they're in Fort Mill, they're paying the lower taxes, but it has a totally different vibe, as the kids would say. So, you know, if you have any questions, let me know. Um, we touched a little bit on TKK. We touched on that. Let's see. We got the Walmart. Oh, yeah, one last commercial space out here. This is the Walmart. This is like the nicest Walmart we've ever seen, and it's because the TK people made them build it so nice. So it looks like an actual town storefront. Like I know they do some stores like that, but like that is one of the nicest Walmarts I've ever been to up here in TK. I mean, it looks like they actually put some thought into the architecture of it. Um, and tons of great restaurants. Again, I'm gonna hop off, but check out my vlog up here of Fort Mill, and I also have a vlog at TKK as well, and on the channel. So check those out, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching this map tour.